Donald Trump is sounding off in a duo of new interviews, one with the Washington Post and the other with the Times of London. In them, the president-elect lays out several policy plans ahead of his inauguration Friday. It comes as Mr. Trump reportedly plans to unveil key items from his agenda on the Monday after he's sworn in. Kevin Sheridan is a Republican strategist and the former communications director for Paul Ryan during his vice presidential campaign. And Tisch Sussman is a Democratic strategist and a campaign director for the Center for American Progress. All right, welcome to you both. I want to get, first of all, your thoughts. Emily, I'll start with you. On this war of words between President-elect Trump and Congressman John Lewis, do you think that it was fair for Congressman Lewis to label Mr. Trump's election as quote-unquote illegitimate?
I think he has a lot of reasons to do so, starting with the fact that Trump actually lost the election by well, he won the election, but he did not win the popular vote by 2.9 million votes. So I think there's certainly a lot of Americans that feel very angry at him, and the fact that the way that he came into power in politics in the first place was by spending, almost 8 years questioning President Obama's legitimacy by questioning his birth certificate. But I think this does take us into really what Trump is best at, which is talking about what he says and not talking about what he does. He has been preparing to take office this Friday for the last 2 months, and what we've seen has been really unprecedented. He's brought in a lot, he says he's going to drain the swamp. He's brought in a lot of people into the cabinet who are pretty swampy, and yet we continue to focus on what he says and not what he does.
Kevin, let me ask you then, do you think that it was appropriate for the president-elect to react to Congressman Lewis in the way that he did on Twitter?
Well, John Lewis is a legitimate civil rights icon, and he has a lot of political capital to say things that, to be the conscience of America in a lot of ways. But in this case, he's simply wrong. As Barack Obama has said, that this was a legitimate election, that Donald Trump won legitimately. And to see a civil rights icon squandering his own political capital in this way, it's just sad, actually, to quote Donald Trump. But no, Donald Trump has every opportunity and he's legitimate to push back. You can take issue with how he's doing it, but anybody to say this wasn't a legitimate election is simply wrong. It was a legitimate election. Russia did not lose this election for Hillary Clinton, as John Lewis has intimated. And I think it's just a sad state of affairs right now.
All right, let's turn to policy. And Kevin, I'll start with you. In his interview with the Washington Post, Mr. Trump pledged to create health insurance for everyone, though he didn't offer many specifics. The Congress, as you know, just finished approving a budget resolution to repeal Obamacare. So how is this going to work? And how can Mr. Trump's plan fit in with what Congress may have in mind?
I think it's way too early to say, but he is putting in people in place that are capable of doing that. Tom Price, as HHS Secretary, is a legislative master. He's the person who has been most closely involved in repeal and replace, and I think you're going to hear the outlines of what that plan really looks like, and access for all. Insurance for all is going to be part of that, and I think you're going to really start to see that. Repeal has already happened. You're going to see replace, and it's going to take some time to get there. This is a very complicated issue. It took 7 years to get here. It's going to take a little time to get this fixed, but I think they're well on their way, and it's going to happen.
Emily, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, all of those things that Kevin just outlined, you can't do all of those things at once. You can't do them all at the same time. You can't have insurance for all. You can't have coverage for all and repeal Obamacare. You'd actually have to go with something with more government intervention than Obamacare. What's happening right now is that Republicans are stuck. They're stuck in this political promise they made. Trump was there every one of the rallies, repeal it day one, repeal it day one, repeal it day one, right? And Republicans have actually been running on it since it was passed. But now they're dealing with the reality of the fact that people are covered. People like it. They may not have liked the politics around it, but they actually like the fact that they're getting covered. Not only do they like it, their lives are actually depending on it. That's not hyperbole. Republicans have been seeing over and over and over at rallies this past weekend in their offices. Their town halls are getting flooded. What we're actually seeing are similar politics to the town halls of 2009 when Obamacare was being introduced and debated in the first place. Then it was Democrats that really felt the pressure of people coming to town halls and holding them accountable. And now it's Republicans that are feeling the pressure, and people from all across the political spectrum are coming to hold them accountable. A lot of people are saying, I voted for you, I voted for Trump, and I'm about to lose my health care.
Well, in another major interview this weekend, this one with the Times of London, Mr. Trump laid out some foreign policy plans, including travel restrictions on Europeans coming to the U.S., as well as, quote, extreme vetting, end quote, for those entering America from certain parts of the world. Kevin, what do you think that could look like?
Well, this is what he ran on, and this is what the American people just voted on. And I think this, extreme vetting is going to mean that maybe the San Bernardino killers wouldn't have been able to get into the United States. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet. We just know the broad outlines of it, and that he's going to get tougher on visas from certain countries. How far that extends and whether it extends into Europe, I think is unclear at the moment. But look, this is a real problem. Killers have come in through our, legitimately through our customs, and that's not good. That's a bad thing. We need to fix our immigration. We need to get much stronger on the border, and Donald Trump is going to do that. And we need to look at, where these people are coming from, and we need to get very serious about it.
Emily, how do you see it?
Yeah, I think this is another place where the politics of running are going to hit right up against the realities of governing. Trump has to own this. Republicans have to own this. They have to own that this was the promise and the realities of what it'll mean. If you look at what he said, mass deportation was something that he said he wanted to get behind. That would cost the economy. I'm not even talking about people coming in. Mass deportation of getting rid of everyone who's here would cost the economy $434 billion. Is that what people want to spend their money on? The process of bringing in Syrians right now in the refugee process already has over a dozen steps and takes 12 to 24 months before anyone actually steps their foot in the United States. So I think we have to look at the reality of what is out there and then think about, how does this position us in the world? Are we seriously going to be looking at getting tighter on visa restrictions to Europe? What is that going to do for our own travel? What is that going to do for trade? What is that going to do for our economy? You have to actually own these solutions now. This is not campaign promises.
Kevin, let me ask you, Mr. Trump also reiterated his comments that NATO is obsolete and that he would agree to a nuclear weapons reduction deal with Vladimir Putin in return for lifting U.S. sanctions. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, this is way too early to say what this will actually, what this one statement actually will mean in the long run. But look, less nuclear weapons would be a good thing, and if he can start to negotiate some sort of way to do that, that would be good. But at the cost of sanctions, we'll just have to see whether or not that ever gets underway. I actually don't know that that's possible, but he's going to take a new approach to Russia, just as he's going to do with the entire world, with China. And, we just have to wait and see what that actually looks like. And he hasn't even had time to sit down with his Secretary of State yet to actually map some of this stuff out, his defense secretary. So I think you're going to start to see that. Let's get through the inauguration and then see what he actually wants to put in place.
All right, to be continued. Kevin Sheridan and Emily Tisch Sussman, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.